Hello everyone, and let's talk about 4.0's Endgame. It's been almost a month since the game's release, and we're going to have a little discussion about the good, the bad, and the ugly of Endgame. I think that'll be the title for the video, because there are quite a lot of good things. There are some bad things, and then there's some things that just don't make any fucking sense whatsoever, which is typical of Bioware, really. There's a few Bioware logic, is what I'm going to call it, moments in there in the end game currently. But we'll start with the good. We will start with the good, and I have to say one of the best things about the end game is the alliance system. Very, very good, the alliance system. Always reminds me of Metal Gear Solid, Peace Walker, and later Metal Gear Solid 5. It's very much like that. What you're doing is essentially you're building a rebel alliance. Okay, we won't spoil. Oh, we will spoil the story. You're building an alliance to fight against the Eternal Empire. Okay, you fight against Arkan and his Eternal Empire. So you're fighting off Zakul, you're liberating some of the core worlds, you've got the Flashpoint to do, Star Fortress, which involves gets you out into the world, which I quite like that, and it ties in very well. A lot of people complain again about level sync, but it can't be removed, okay, because it's tied in so closely with the alliance system and with the end game that it can't be removed, because it'd be totally unfair to everybody else, okay? If you're going along and doing your heroics, by the way, most of the heroic 4s that I've done so far, soloable, no problems. Take a healer companion, they're ridiculously overpowered, you're immortal, you're never gonna die, your gear is practically irrelevant because you're level synced down. So it doesn't matter, really. You can just enjoy the sort of... think of them as dailies. Well, they're on a weekly lockout, the heroic missions. But there's so many of them that it makes up for the fact there's no real daily areas. That is your kind of dailies. You can still do traditional dailies. You can go to the Black Hole and Belsavis and Yavin and CZ198 if you want to do traditional daily quests. They're still there. They're all still there. The rewards are all still relevant, but we cannot have the level sync turned off because it is an integral part of this, okay? What you'd have if you had people had the level sync turned off, if you're doing the Kaizen Fest quest, where you have to get the world boss kills, 3 world boss kills is the easiest way to do it. What you'd have is you'd get a world boss group together. What happened a lot, it happened a lot in vanilla and certainly throughout the game, we'd get a world boss group together and some asshole would rock up and solo it. Some asshole level 50 would come up and just solo it and steal the kill from you just to be a dick. Nowadays, level sync can't do that. Can't do that now. You need a group. World boss were never designed to be soloed. People complaining about that. They were never designed as solo content. So, you know, getting a group together, getting, 24 people in a group, getting 2 FPS on the world boss, fun times. You know, the game engine definitely can't handle a group of 24 people, but it is fun to see that many people taking down a boss, and it is quite cool. It gets you're out in the world, and you're getting to do all the heroics that we missed as well. I was questing on Tatooine and just ran into some random people doing the one where you go down. I think it's Down the Hole. It's called. You go down and you kill bunch of Mandalorians, and just ran into some people. We got a random invite to a group, and we cleared all the heroics on Tatooine. Like that. Do you want to clear all the heroics? Yeah, fine. It's good. You're interacting with people. Now, not all of these people were level 65. Some of them were one of them was level 34, one of them was level 29. These are people of all levels and all experience, coming together. So that's a good thing. And it doesn't matter that any of us knows our role or anything like that, because, who cares? There's 4 of us doing a heroic 2, essentially. And, we got through the whole of Tatooine in less than half an hour. And it was a good experience. It's a good experience. You just run into people out in the world, you invite them to a group, you get the thing done faster. You can do it by yourself if you want, but it's a lot faster to do it grouped up. I like that. I like the aspect. I had fun doing dailies, and that's the first time I've had fun doing dailies for a while, because doing dailies on Yavin was such a pain in the arse last expansion. Ziost was terrible. I really enjoyed that, doing it on Tatooine as well with all those people. Different levels, doesn't matter. We're all level synced down to 28. So it doesn't matter. Our rewards are all relevant to each other. We're all getting the same rewards. They're all relevant. It's a very good system, the level sync. Quit complaining about it. It brings far more positives than it does negatives. A lot of people complaining are generally those who just like to walk in and face roll everything. I mean, you practically were doing that with 4 people. You know, we're doing that with 4 people. You got to chat to some people. It's interesting, you know, explain a few things about the game, you know, tell them what the game, and it's good. A good thing overall, you know, to sort of people you would never have interacted with normally. All of a sudden, you're in here, Tactics Vanguard tanking, best of gear, best stuff. I did that on a Garge HM. Tactics Vanguard tanking like a pro. KPHM can tank. You can tank the not Garge. Bone Thrasher. That's it. The Rancor in KPHM, the first boss. Ended up with aggro from the 2 tanks. I'm not dumping aggro. He's not killing me. I'm a Tactics Vanguard. I'm okay. You know, screw it. I ain't dumping threat. I'm gonna tank this sucker. 2 tanks trying to pull threat off you. Fun times that I had in KP. KP is a fun op to do as a pug. That's going to be the background footage for this. KPSM this is, and we're trying out Plasma Tech as a Vanguard. This isn't the KP run that we're on about there. But yeah, it's a fun op, actually, KP. So yeah, the alliance system is really good. It's a really good system. Again, you level up your companions. Not that you really need to do that. People complaining again about the gearing system. You still gear your companions. It's just a different method of gearing. And don't think of it as gearing, you just level them, okay? Some people argue it is a fairly flat system, and yes, it's not open to customization. You could argue that, but again, you still gear out your companions. You just gear them out by getting them gifts, okay? And you get gifts by doing the heroic quest, because what you do is you get a box, and you turn the box into one of the 3 alliance people. You got the Force section, you've got a Voss Mystic who does your Force sensitives area, you've got the Admiral dude from Kuat Drive Yards who's the head of your military wing, you've got a smuggler who's the head of your underworld wing, and you've got Dr. Ogorob, that's 4 things, who was in Rise of the Hutt Cartel, if you remember him from McKeb. He is the head of your science wing. So you've got like 3 kind of distinct wings. You turn in the lock boxes that you get to them. You get extra affection with them. You level them up, and you also get unassembled old tier pieces. So it's kind of like a transmog type system that you get. It is legacy bound. The unassembled tier pieces that you get like Underworld, Rakata, Kulumi, Dread Guard, there's another one, Arcanian. Get all of them, all of those old armor sets that people wanted back in the game, and they're now back in the game. So there is a good reason for sort of, if you're into your cosmetics, if you want to complete, you know, an old armor set and you can no longer get the pieces, that is a good thing. There you go. There's a thing to do. It adds a bit of grind to the game. They're essentially like cartel packs. You open it and you get a random piece of gear. There's also mounts and things that you can get as well. Hopefully they'll add to this. Hopefully they'll add new sort of companions and new chapters to this as the story progresses, as we get chapter 10 and so forth. So this, you get the alliance system at the end of chapter 9 when you finish the Knights of the Fallen Empire story, which is a pretty good system. It's a kind of like, if you think of it as sort of like World of Warcraft's garrison systems, only way better. Okay, it's not just a Facebook game, and you're actually required to go out into the world and do things. Okay, you're not just sending followers away on a mission and then, you know, they report back with the rewards. Also, I liken it to Metal Gear Solid 5 as well. You're the commander, you run the base, you're a big boss. You know, you get to make decisions and recruit people into your alliance as well. You can recruit companions as well. So no Fulton recovery though. That's the only thing. I want to Fulton recover Kaizen Fest. I wanted to Fulton recover him. You know, knock him out with a trank gun. Fulton recover him. Fulton recover a couple of hover tanks while we're at it in EC. Get the hover tanks. You know, Fulton Kefes. We need Kefes as a companion though. The quest for Kefes would be kill Kefes. Okay? Or defeat Kefis, should we say, not kill him to get Kefis as a companion. We need Kefis, okay? We need Kefis as a companion in the future. We definitely need him. Let's get on to the bad side of it. Let's talk about the bad stuff, though, for PvE. We're going to talk about PvE, most of which is kind of irrelevant. Now, tactical flashpoints, waste of time. Okay, complete waste of time. Arguably the most difficult content in the game at the moment, considering the people that we do it with, the pug groups that we get, and the level range as well contributes to that. It's not just bad players, it's, you know, the level range is a contributing factor to that as well. Level 15 in Red Reaper. Good luck with that. Good luck with that, that's all we have to say. Or Blood Hunt. Imagine Blood Hunt? Level 15? I mean, I know it's tactical, but Jesus. Blood Hunt at level 15? I mean, who the hell thought that was a good idea? Or LIHM at level 50. Bear in mind that level 50 is no longer the cap, and the game is not balanced around you being level 50. So tactical flashpoints and hard mode flashpoints are pointless. They're just a waste of time. You're not going to do them, really, because the rewards are pointless, because you get bolstered anyway. So gearing for hard mode flashpoints is generally a waste of time, because you're gonna get bolstered, and you know, if you're under level 60, I wouldn't recommend doing them. People say, oh, you gotta be level 65 to do hard mode flashpoints. You gotta have full item level 220 gear, which by the way is more gear than is required for doing Karagas Palace and Eternity Vault in hard mode. Actually, yeah, and way more required from the story mode ops. If you're doing EVKPHM, they're a joke. Really, they're just loot pinatas that give out free loot every single boss there. Speaking of loot pinatas, story mode ops are not challenging, which I'm okay with, to be honest with you. I'm actually okay with that, because most people that do them just pug groups. If you're a progression guild, just skip story mode and go straight to EV, KP. It's not really, EV and KP aren't really a challenge. I have done EC, apparently, is a proper HM. Good stuff. I'd like to see that. Again, and I've done TOS. We only managed to do the first boss on TOS. We had a few people who were new to TOS, never done it before, and had to do Sword Squadron HM with a new healer and a new tank. So you can imagine how well that went. You know, wipe fest. It was such a wipe fest. But that's to be expected. You know, these are tough. Okay, TOS, still a tough op. I haven't tried Ravagers yet. Did it in story mode. But it's not that hard in story mode, to be honest. TOS story mode I haven't done. Apparently Underlurker has been nerfed as well. Apparently they've all been nerfed down. I don't like the removal of mechanics, especially mechanics from Dread Fortress and Dread Palace. I thought Dread Palace is such a joke these days. Especially with Dread Council, which just is a bunch of loot pinatas, basically. Which just you hit and loot comes out. You know, basically that's it. Raptus is a joke. Califerus is a joke as well. We covered that earlier in a previous video, but they're just a joke. EV and KP have always been a joke, really, in story mode. Even in hard mode, they're still a bit of a joke. Pounce does nothing to you. From Guards, I remember doing that, and for progression back at level 60. Pounce at level 65 does about 17k damage, which at level 65 is about 20% of your health, which as a Tactics Vanguard is nothing. That's 4 shoulder missiles I can use to heal myself up if the healer does nothing. So I'm going to stay in. Obviously I got 7 of them, so I'm going to just fire 4 shoulder missiles at the thing and 20% of my health is back. Bear in mind that is actually the same as what it did. It did about 17k damage back then, but the difference is we had about 17.5k health. Back then, back at level 50, and it did massive damage, so melee DPS had to get out on guards there. So yeah, the PvE systems is kind of terrible, to be honest. If you want to gear up to do story mode operations or hard mode flashpoints, you're better off doing PvP. You're better off just with PvP gear, because PvP gear gives you the set bonus. The bolster's going to make up for the lack of item level. 204 it is going to be, but your bolster is going to make up for the lack of, say, 216 com gear versus 204 PvP gear. The 204 PvP gear is an advantage. It is an advantage because you'll have the 6-piece set bonus, which is an advantage on certain, depends on the class, but as a Tactics Vanguard, if someone's maining a Tactics Vanguard, yeah, the 6-piece set bonus is what we want. Cell Burst is an auto crit every minute. essentially. And hell yeah, we want that, because I'm sitting at 68.8% surge, which if you add the 30% bonus is 98.8% crit multiplier. I should have said surge, I should have meant crit multiplier. So we're doing nearly double damage with Cell Burst. Double damage guaranteed every minute. Yeah, I want that. That's going to be better than 216 comm gear. There's no way that the stat superiority of 220 or 216 comm gear is going to make up for that. Okay, in a story mode operation environment. So that is, you know, it's an advantage to have the set bonus. Same in level sync content. Set bonus is everything, which kind of renders the crystals redundant. Okay, the PvE crystals, most of them are redundant. Okay, the common radiant glowing crystals, or common glowing radiant, give them the right order. So they're kind of useless, really. 216 gear, why would I want 216 commendation gear? It's useless practically in a hard mode operation, because we want 216 set bonus gear, and a story mode operation, we're not really going to see the advantage of it. The 204 PvP gear is going to give us a set bonus, which, depending on your class, I don't know all the classes' set bonuses, but generally they're pretty good. The Vanguard one, excellent. I'm going to take that auto crit 100%, almost extra damage. I just got a few augments to add, took 2 augments to upgrade, and then we'll be doing 100% crit multiplier on our Cell Burst. And it is ridiculous. It's like 22k damage it does right now at 98%. Add an extra 2% to that, we're going to do massive damage. The Tactics Vanguard is excellent, I should say. Really enjoying it. We'll get to the Bioware logic stuff now, which is the ugly side. Again, radiant glowing data crystals are glowing data crystals you can use for crafting material, at least, so they're kind of useful. Elite comms, useful. The radiant ones, useless. Utterly useless. Unless you're maybe gearing off-spec or gearing an alt that's not going to raid, then, yeah, kind of useless. PvP gear, the way to go if you're not raiding progression. For progression, you generally want to go through the story mode op and get the 216 set bonus gear, but if you're not doing progression, then nah, forget it. You can go with 216 comm gear. It really doesn't matter, because these story mode ops are ridiculously easy. You could face roll them any day of the week. Face roll, turn your brain off, and just walk in, punch a couple of things in the face, get some free loot, get some free item level 216 gear, and off we go on our merry way. You know, without batting an eyelid. I just did that KP run there. Easy, quick, in, out, comms, thank you very much. I'm not saying that's totally a bad thing, to be honest with you, because, you know, it's getting people into raids. People are actually doing the raid content, and more people are doing the content, and there's a lot more content to do in 4.0. It's certainly a massive improvement on 3.0, but I would like to see data crystals used to buy set bonus gear. If you bought 216 set bonus armorings for radiant data crystals, I'd care about them. Okay, you'd care, because getting that set bonus, especially with the majority of the game's content is either bolstered or level synced these days, it just doesn't make any sense to have, you know, 220 non-commendation gear. It just doesn't make a huge amount of sense. 220 commendation gear, having the set bonus is going to give you an advantage, because getting that 2% damage buff or auto crit heal that you get is always going to be a benefit, even though you're level synced. Okay, because 2% damage is 2% onto your level sync damage, whatever that is. Say level 28 damage, it's going to be 2% onto that. Also, your auto crit, you tends to find your tertiary stats don't really scale down that much. Like, I go from 41.8% crit to about 39% crit, so they don't scale down so much. Power tends to get scaled massively, mastery gets scaled massively, but critical rating, crit chance, I think, yeah, it's critical rating, I'm just calling it crit, doesn't really get scaled down, so bear in mind that's why your crit kind of changes, but your crit multiplier doesn't change. Key is the key, so it makes crit the kind of most powerful stat in the game at the moment right now. in 4.0. So that is, you know, you could argue getting more crit is a benefit, but I'd rather have the set bonus where it's a guaranteed auto crit rather than, you know, 4% extra crit chance, because crit is RNG, bear in mind. So I'd rather have the set bonus and get myself a nice auto crit cell burst, which happens every minute. Using Tactical Surge grants us 2% damage bonus and makes our next cell burst, used within I think it's 30 seconds, an automatic critical hit. So there you go. That's way better than having a higher item level of non-set bonus gear. I think that's what they should do, really. Say 100 data crystals, 100 radiant data crystals will buy you a 216 armoring. Okay, you put this armoring, say you buy the chest armoring, the head armoring. That's what they did in vanilla for the black hole comms. Black hole comms bought you campaign armorings. So yeah, I mean, progression rating is pretty well actually. EV and KP, I'd say hard mode are puggable, definitely puggable. They're not that difficult. EC, not puggable, it's never puggable. I haven't tried. I've tried TOS, again, not puggable in hard mode, which is fair enough. But I'd imagine EC not puggable. TFB I haven't done. Scum and Villainy haven't done yet. I need to get to Dread Fortress and Palace as well. Maybe I'll kill Brontes this expansion. Still haven't done her in hard mode. So anyway, that is all for this video. So thank you for joining me. Overall, I'd say it's an improvement. Okay, improvement over 3.0. It's a much better game than 3.0. Where we were this time in the expansion in 3.0 compared to 4.0. 4.0 is a lot better, is a massive improvement, but still a way to go, really. So that is all for this video, and thank you for joining me, and we'll see you again soon, and goodbye.